Good morning, ladies and menfolk. Alright, we're coming back to you with some book reviews. Today we are going to cover a multi-format series. We are doing none other than Spice and Wolf by the fantabulous Isuna Hasekura. Now, we're going to focus primarily on the manga, but it is originally done in a novel format, and there's also an anime adaptation out there as well. So we're going to kind of cover a little bit of everything, but for convenience sake, we're going to do the manga. Now, currently, for English translations, there are 8 volumes out, as you can see here. And the artwork for the manga is done by Kaito Kaume. Japanese last names are a little tricky to pronounce for me still, so if you happen to know the proper way to pronounce that, by all means post in the comments below. Let me know how badly I've butchered it. But yes, this week is Spice and Wolf. This is a great series about 2 traveling companions, and it focuses primarily on Kraft Lawrence, who is a traveling merchant, who's slowly trying to save up money and make enough profit off of his deals to eventually buy his own shop in a town, so you can have a little place you can call home. Who wouldn't want that? Makes sense. And then you have Holo, who is a wolf spirit from Yoitsu. Now, she's a little more complicated, as spirits tend to be. She originally came from Yoitsu, but decided to chill out in a tiny little farming village because she made friends with someone there, made a deal, and you're a wolf, you're honorable, you're going to keep your deal. Who wouldn't? She decides to help with their wheat harvest because she is a master of all things agriculture. So she helps with their harvests every year for countless years, decades, hundreds of years even, until Lawrence comes along. Now, Lawrence has gone to some far-off little dinky village and got some wheat and grain that theoretically can survive colder temperatures because it's a little farther out of the way or something like that. That's kind of the inciting incident to get things rolling. Polo wants to leave. She's had enough of the village's temper because you can't just have bountiful harvests every year. That's not how it works. Every once in a while you gotta cut things back. Let the land recuperate. Even the land needs a bit of a break every once in a while. And then the villagers get a little cranky, so she wants out. Makes sense. Along comes Lawrence with some wheat outside of the village, so she decides to bail. I don't really blame her. I'd be tired of that after a while as well. So, the 2 main plots are, you have Lawrence trying to slowly save up for his shop, and now you have Holo, who is trying to make her way back to Yoitsu, because it's been hundreds of years. She wants to know how her friends are doing from way back when. There are some various complications, as most mangas have, or novels, originally, I should say, but for the manga adaptations, it's approximately 2 manga volumes per novel, give or take. So, while there are 8 volumes here, the 9th one comes out later this year, actually, in September. The novels are all the way up to volume 10, so there's a lot more to the story yet to be shown in the manga. Sorry for the noise. So what we have here, boom, is volumes 1 through 10 of the novel, actually excluding volume 8. I don't know where my volume 8 went. It ran away on me. I need to buy another copy of it, but the novelization is a lot further along in the story than the manga because, well, the manga takes longer to illustrate and synchronize with the storyline, making sure that you get all the nuances through. So, can't really blame them for that. The novelization so far is up to volume 10, as I said. 11 and 12 are coming out this year. And going through a bit of research, it looks like there's going to be 17 volumes. So the end, let's see, about 2 to 3 volumes a year. So we're looking at about 2016, 2017 to see the final culmination of this entire series, which is kind of sad because this is a wonderful universe that I really don't want to see end, even if it's several years away. But the novelization is even better than the manga in that there's so much more because you got a novel. It's not just a couple panels, you have the full stretch of the plot and character progression. And there is a lot of character progression as you see these two companions go through various towns and scenarios, sometimes making profit, sometimes not, getting in all sorts of troubles and shenanigans. And it's almost like they're an old married couple in that they bicker, they fight, they have all sorts of problems between the two of them. There are secrets on both sides, and some come out, some have yet to so far. There are a lot of complications for both of their plots in that it's not easy to get a shop. You need a lot of money to save it up and a reputation, and you got to figure out, well, which town do I want to deal with primarily that I can build my life in? And then you got Holo looking for Yoitsu, which she's not been to in a long time. And a lot can happen in a long time. A lot of bad stuff can happen in a long time. So throughout the series, we're slowly learning that they need to find out just what happened to Yoitsu during that time and where her friends have gone to since then. Because, I mean, your friend goes off on an adventure for a couple 100 years. You might get a little curious as to what's happened. So, there's that. And, I mean, you travel with someone long enough and you go through enough hardships, your working relationship might get a little interesting, or at least come into question as to could this be more, or how can this evolve? And, I mean, it fits the manga style in that the relationship is hilarious and complicated, and it keeps on growing, and you want it to grow. You want to see how the characters come together and eat and hopefully form a relationship that's beyond just business. We shall see. There are still several more volumes to the novel, never mind the manga. Now, there is also one overriding theme to this series, which is, well, two, technically. You have the agriculture part because Holo, but you also have the economic part because of Lawrence. This series covers a lot of economics and logistics for different currencies, exchange rates, trying to figure out the best deal and how to get an advantage over various vendors. And if you buy, say, several sets of armor, but then a war is canceled, what do you do with all this armor that is now no longer in demand? And situations like that. Now, granted, you have a wolf spirit on your side, so you're eventually going to come out on top. But, yeah, it's interesting to see how you can actually make economics and finances interesting, because it's a pretty dry subject. But this series actually makes it interesting. You want to learn a little bit more about how the various currencies interact with each other and why one is better than the other and how to go about it all and things like that. And they've recently, relatively recently, within the last couple of years, adapted it to anime. Now, we have here the anime, which covers seasons 1 and 2, as they're calling it. So up to, I think it's 26 episodes. Let's see here. Yeah, 26 episodes, which covers, I think, most of the manga that is currently out. So it's more or less in line with the manga. It might be a little bit ahead from what I remember. It's been a while since I've actually watched season 2, so give me a little bit of leeway. But yeah, let's see here. Currently, you can just get the full box set of the entire series for anime over at Funimation, which is doing the English dubbing. I found it interesting that with most things Funimation, you got a lot of familiar voices. So you got Brina Palencia as Holo, and you got J. Michael Tatum as Lawrence. Now, with Funimation, you can almost never go wrong because it's Funimation. They care about quality. But it's pretty hilarious to think that you got the voice of CL and Sebastian from Black Butler as Holo and Lawrence in Spice and Wolf. They're also both in Full Metal Alchemist. Brina is Nina, which is kind of sad if you're familiar with the FMA universe. And J. Michael Tatum is Scar. So it's interesting to see how voice actors can do such entirely different characters. I mean, yeah, granted, Brina also does Chopper from One Piece and Juvia from Fairy Tail. So she can probably have a lot of fun with these characters because they're all a little quirky in their own little ways. And of course, Tatum is Simone from Fairy Tail, kind of a lesser character than, say, Juvia, but still, there's a lot of overlaps in series. And I found amusing, I didn't realize it, he's also France from Hetalia, which is hilarious. So yeah, you got some really quality voice actors for the anime, and these the combo pack also has the Japanese subtitle version. So if you want the original voice actors from the Japanese version, it's they have the audio tracks for those as well. I don't know the Japanese voice actors offhand, and you really wouldn't want me to try and pronounce them anyway, but this is definitely a series worth grabbing in some format, one way or the other, whether it's the novelizations, where you have 10 volumes currently, soon to be 12. There's a lot of stories and a lot of interesting arcs within the novels, so I would actually kind of push for that one, actually. And they range, they average, just looking here, about $12 a volume, so yeah, it's a little pricey depending on your budget at the moment, but I still highly recommend at least getting the first one or two volumes of the series, if you can. The manga, comparatively, let's just pull out a volume here. What does the manga run for? The manga is actually about the same. It's $12 to $13 a volume. So I'd actually push for the novels, because the novels, you get about 2 mangas worth of plot for the same price. Or you can do the box set of the anime for $40. You can probably find it for cheaper, admittedly, somewhere else if you go like Amazon or somewhere like that. But the anime will cover most of the manga, so that if you're really going for pure cost effectiveness, do the anime, because that'll cover about 8 volumes worth of manga, or about 4 books worth, give or take. Let's see, 40. So yeah, it would still be the most cost effective option, but it's really your preference as to what style you prefer reading things in. If you prefer books purely, go for the novels. You'll get the most plot out of that. If you're more visual, then the manga's the way to go, even though it's a little slower because you have to cram a lot more imagery in each volume, so the plot takes a little while longer to develop. Or if you don't have time to read, I know some people just don't, I don't blame you, we're all busy, go for the anime. And then you can watch it either subbed or dubbed, depending on your personal preferences. We don't judge. I happen to actually like doing both, because it's fascinating to both read the English subtitle translations for what they say, and then hear the dubbed versions for how they adapt it that way. So, to each their own. But yeah, all in all, find some way to access this series, even if you have to go to your local library and get a copy of it via that method. I mean, this has been out since about 2008, approximately. Let's see. No, that's the manga. Yeah, it came out first in 2009 for the novelization, so it's been out for, wow, 5 years now. So chances are your library will have at least the first one or two volumes, most likely of the novel, maybe of the manga, depending on how expansive your library is. No guarantees on the anime. That's been kind of hit or miss for libraries from what I've seen just in my area, but most libraries also have the interlibrary loaning program, so if your library doesn't have it, one in the area might, and they can port it over for you. So it's always worth checking. So I think I've rambled long enough about this series. You've obviously gotten my opinion. Get it in some way, shape, or form. It's worth it. Yen Press does a fantastic job of printing and putting them together. Let's see here if I can just quickly pull out volume 1 of the novel. Is it volume? No, sorry. I lost the cover for that one. But if you get the novel version, it's actually also nice in... Okay, you see the cover work here. Let's do that. Okay. That is actually a dust cover. Yeah, I don't really see many paperback novels having a dust cover. The actual cover is slightly different and a little more mangified, if that's a term. So yeah, that's the actual cover, and then this is the dust cover. So it's really nicely done. Yen Press goes above and beyond, in my opinion, for just a series. Now, the manga does not have a dust cover, just as a warning. I have yet to actually see a manga that would have a dust cover, although that would be fascinating if they ever did. That would be like a collector's edition, I would think. But no, for the time being, it's just the novels. So yeah. Again, that's enough rambling, guys. Tune in next week. We're actually going to do another Yen Press series next week, but you're going to have to tune in to find out which one. So, until next time, all.